TV, where you can see Todd Flesner and myself, Debbie Giordano, on Channel 26. We air on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 6 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday at 9:30 a.m. Yep, got that right. So how are you doing?
Terrific. It's good to see you again, Deb.
Good to see you, too. You've been working hard, haven't you?
Have been. Yeah,
I know you.
The market has been busy.
It's been busy, but we've got time to stop and take a breather and talk about different people and things that are going on in Milpitas.
Oh, exactly. And, you and I always talk about how we love to live and work here in Milpitas and get to know the people who are here, who have their businesses. And today we want to introduce folks to Avtar Singh. And Avtar is a new business in town, Express Employment. And so welcome, Avtar. We're glad to have you.
Thank you, Todd. Thank you, Debbie.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
So we're going to get a chance to get to know a little bit about you and a little bit about your business and how you serve the Milpitas community. So why don't you start out, just introduce yourself to us. Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you come from, where you grew up, went to school. Just, help us get to know you.
Sure. Thank you for the opportunity. So my name is Avtar Singh. I originally from India. I born and grew up in India and did my bachelor. In 1985, I moved to United States. So I've been in the Bay Area for the last 30 years.
Nice.
So I work in the semiconductor industry for majority of my time here in the United States. I work for a number of companies. You may have heard some of those. Cypress Semiconductor is, that was my longest tenure, about 17 years. And then I work at a couple other companies, Surf Technology and CSR. So those are the major ones.
Okay.
Good. So you know tech, you know this valley.
Yes, I do.
Well, they go hand in hand.
Good. So you talked a little bit about some of your background in tech and some of those stories. Perhaps tell us a little bit about Express Employment. What's Express Employment? What do you do? What do you provide for the business community?
So Express Employment Professional is one of the largest franchise employment services company in the United States. Express have about 700 plus offices throughout United States and Canada. And during the last year, soul searching, I decided to look into the opportunity, and Express have a very good system in place, tried and tested for the last number of years, as I mentioned. And their main focus is to help the local businesses and help the local people to connect with each other.
Okay.
So that's where Express comes in.
Okay, so those are some of the key ingredients to your company then, connecting with the small businesses, being it looks like you're kind of the bridge.
Yes, we are.
That from point A to point B.
Exactly. So that's what we try to connect the people, find good jobs for the people in the local area, and also find good people for the businesses to grow their economically and
I would imagine, whether they be a startup company or an established company, finding good people to work for them is one of their main concerns.
Yeah, that is correct, Debbie, because majority of the larger businesses, corporation, they have their human resources department, they're fully staffed, they do their hiring on their own. Our focus from Express point of view is to help the mid-size or small businesses where we can help them as a backup HR management and bring the right talent for them.
Okay.
Oh, good. Well, let's talk a little bit about kind of the Silicon Valley economic landscape right now, and the job landscape. What's that like? You're helping to connect folks. What's the employment scene?
The employment scene is actually overall is pretty good. The latest statistic for Santa Clara County and Milpitas, we're about 4 to 4.5% unemployment rate. So it's been for the last 4 years, the employment has been improving actually. So it's a lot of challenge for the employer to find good people. There's scarcity of good people. There's people always looking for a job, but good people who have the right skill set for the employer to improve their productivity.
Well, and let's talk about that, skill sets. So somebody that's seeking employment would come to you also, and how do you screen those potential employees that go out to these other businesses?
So, Debbie, that's a very good question. We do have some tools in our belt, or in our toolbox per se, that we do some basic testing. Now, there is a job market, especially in the Silicon Valley. There is so many different categories we cannot test and for every skill set. But we do the basic skill set, like for administrative, we do computer skill set typing test, as well as some Microsoft Word. And as a matter of fact, we have a position open with one of the local employer. They're looking for computer-aided design technicians. So we do have the testing for those as well.
Okay.
So we give them online test. They, we get the report and we take a look at it. We review with the employer to see if the scores are acceptable.
Okay.
Good. So you're doing some screening then for folks who are potential employees, but are you doing other sort of skill development things for folks who are looking for jobs? For instance, are you helping train or coach on interview techniques, or are you really interviewing and screening? Where do you fit on that spectrum?
We do, that's a very good question again, Todd. We do very thorough screening because we meet with employers. So I'm going on a daily basis, regularly meeting with different employers, asking what kind of folks they need to hire. And then we do a profile. What kind of talent they're looking for, what kind of experience, what kind of education that these folks are looking for. And then we document that in our database. And we do same thing with the employees or the people who are looking for a job. We bring them to the office. We welcome them to come. And we have a trained staff member who does a thorough interview. She have 8+ years of experience. So we try to match those and to see where the fit is before we even propose those candidates to the employer.
All right. Well, let me say the medical field for an example.
Yeah.
That's pretty big. That's pretty diverse. Let's say somebody's interested in pursuing and getting into the medical field. Do they come to you already trained in that area, and you match that up, or is that something that maybe you can set a goal plan for that person and say, hey, maybe you need to go to some specific training and school to get that skill set to that job. And I use that as an example. My son just recently finished CNA, certified nursing
assistant.
And his goal is to become a nurse.
Okay.
But he's kind of lacking the and there's not real a clear direction of somebody that's really helping him. So I'm just wondering how could you enable folks that are looking to get into some better opportunities?
So our main focus is to find the jobs for people. That is our main focus. We want to employ the people. The CEO of the company have a goal to put 1 million people to work, and we're close to the halfway mark. So our goal is to find the employment where the people can put a food on their table and earn some money as they go along. And during the process, if we learn something that will be beneficial to them, especially if there's any hidden skill set that they have not explored or utilized, we encourage them to take a look at that, because they may be looking for a type A job, but if their skill set have a better match with the type B job category, we may propose to them.
Okay.
So now, is your role or focus really just to put people into positions that may be temporary in nature and help supply that sort of workforce for somebody? Or are you really helping to do a placement where someone can try out a position and see if the fit's good, and then the employer hires that person? How does Express work in that?
So Express is actually full employment services. So we do help with the temporary placement as well as evaluation placement, and also with the direct placement. If somebody wanted to hire the person on their core staff, but they don't have a HR department who need to advertise and bring the people and pool of people to do interview and do the screening, we can do that work for them as well.
Okay. So I got to ask you before we forget, we're going to get offline. Why did you pick Milpitas to locate to?
Well, I work and lived in Milpitas. I actually owned a house in Milpitas a number of years ago, not currently.
Okay. It's
Um,
too bad. You know,
and-
I'm going to be giving the stats, and the home prices are really going up here. I'll make you suck.
So this is the closest proximity that the
Okay.
location was available. It fits right with where I wanted to be. I live in Fremont, but I work in the Milpitas, San Jose area. So this is exactly where my career grew up. I want to be, and fortunately for me,
Perfect.
Milpitas was available. I took it.
Good. We're happy you're here.
Thank you.
Anything else, or?
Well, we're talking about kind of how temp works and the temp to perm and some of the things that you can do for folks. What are some of the advantages of an employer of working with someone like
That's a good question.
your company?
Well, the benefit to the employer is like I mentioned, many of the employers, they don't have a full HR staff. And, California, there's a lot of rules, regulation, compliance issues that employers run into because law changes on a regular basis. They may not be even aware of it because their focus is to make the product or sell the product to run the businesses. And we have that expertise. We have a staff who's aware of all the law changes going on. We are able to help them, and we're able to do the screening. Like I gave you example. You go wanted to hire somebody, you put an ad on the Craigslist or on a career builder, you get hundreds of resumes, and it's very time consuming. If you're running a business, you may not be able to. And a lot of people, employers that we have talked to, they made the wrong decision. They hired the wrong people, and it's very difficult and challenging. So we help with those issues.
But you talked about your career, your past career in corporate world, and how you've had a kind of a soul searching and a change.
Yes.
There must be some rewards. What are the rewards you find from your current career with Express Employment?
Well, Debbie, a very good question. The only reason, or one of the major reason I picked this business, I wanted to help. I want to help the community. I wanted to help the people. I lived in this community in this Bay Area, and I wanted to help businesses grow.
Good.
Terrific. Any goals with your business as you move forward here?
The goal is to find as many people that we can put to work. That's the major goal.
Well, in the event that we've got somebody out there watching this show that wants to get in contact with you, what may be your contact information?
Well, our contact, we're right here in the neighborhood from the City Hall. It's the 920 Hillview Court, Suite 140. We welcome everybody who's looking for a job to give us a
phone number?
408-770-2835 or expresspros.com.
Beautiful.
Terrific. Avtar, it's been a pleasure having you as our guest. We're delighted to have you in the business community here in Milpitas, and we wish you much success.
Much success.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Todd.
you.
I'm very happy to be
Thank
here.
you for taking
Thank
your
you,
time.
Debbie. Thank you
Appreciate
so
it.
much.
The following is a public service announcement test to determine if you need a fishing license and boat registration before you head out on the water. Let us begin. Are you a pelican? Does this look like your house? Is this your idea of fishing with friends? Do you use your feet as fishing hooks? Are you your own boat? Do you have webbed feet? No, I mean like a... That's the one. Do you want this in your favorite lake? Yuck, yike. No thanks, mister. Regardless how you answered, you need to be licensed and registered because it helps local conservation efforts protect the very natural resources you enjoy boating and fishing in for generations to come. Do your part at takemefishing.org.
Lazy bones, loping through the always seem to find the easy way, moving like you're rolling away. Never heard a word I say.
All over America, entire families are backsliding. We're no longer just sedentary, we're stationary, and that's bad news for your bones. At any age, bones need weight-bearing activity to grow strong and stay strong. So go outside, take the steps, play with the dog. Just get up, get out, get moving.
Never keep your bones that way. Never heard a word I say.
A public service message from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons.
The United States Air Force has a proud history of leading our nation in embracing diversity. We've been reaching new heights for years by understanding it's our individual experiences which make us strong. You can share in this success by seeking opportunities to learn and grow as a member of a diverse team. We are the world's greatest Air Force, not because of what we do, but who we are. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Drownings are the #1 cause of accidental death for young children. Simple safety steps are the best way to prevent these tragedies. Make sure kids learn how to swim. Designate an adult water watcher to watch kids in and around water. Save the phone calls and texts for when the kids are out of the water. Properly fence all pools with fences at least 4 feet high and with self-closing, self-latching gates. When above-ground pools aren't in use, remove the ladders. When pools aren't in use, cover them. Teach kids to stay away from drains. And if a child is missing, check the pool or spa first. Consider the steps you take, then add a few more, because you never know which pool safety step will save a life. Until it does. Simple steps save lives. To learn some new ones, visit poolsafely.gov.
Welcome back, everyone. You're watching Valley Homes on TV. I'm Debbie Giordano, along with Todd Flesner, my co-host with Opus Advisors.
And we're here to take a look at what's been going on recently in the real estate world.
Well, we've been busy.
Yes.
I just had just finished up a weekend with 6 open houses, and they were all heavily trafficked. So I'm expecting offers in on a couple of the listings. So still a lot of activity going on in the market.
A lot of folks looking to take advantage of low interest rates, and there's not a whole lot of inventory though still.
No.
So it's competitive.
So what I do, I love to read the San Jose Mercury, and I love to clip things out. It's funny. Avtar with Express Employment just talked about how low the employment is here, and so that's exactly what was in the San Jose Mercury. Jobless rates lowest in years. So I know that is probably one of the reasons that's fueling the demand that we see in the marketplace.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Well, the certainty of employment, makes the decision to buy a home and take on that responsibility and take on the mortgage and all that goes with that. It makes that a much easier decision for people to make. They can sleep at night.
So what I really like, Todd, that you do, you send me weekly updates on interest rates, and I noticed that last few weeks I think we've ticked up a little bit.
Just a little bit, yes.
So respond to this. The feds are likely to raise rates maybe by the end of the year. How do you feel about that?
Well, we keep getting nods from the Fed that perhaps they will raise interest rates, but they won't say exactly when. They've been data dependent, is what they've been saying. So they're looking at things like the jobless rate, which has been dropping, not only here locally but on a national level. They're looking at the inflation rate. Inflation still is pretty tame.
It is. We've had in our past, we've seen gas prices go crazy.
Right.
Food prices. So I mean,
but there's that stability.
So in other words, let me translate that. So they're looking for the economy to be on solid ground before they.
Correct. Right. And there's kind of a teeter-totter there with as the economy gets going, it's a little fragile. If the Fed raises rates, that makes borrowing more expensive. It has the effect of putting a little bit of a brake on the economy.
Okay.
So they want to see GDP growth as well. 2 to 3% at least is what they're looking for. 4% would be better, where they would feel better about raising interest rates. And we're getting kind of, the notion towards the last quarter of this year, perhaps we'll see the Fed raise their short-term interest rates. But the long-term rates, kind of in anticipation of that, have been going up, and in combination with some other economic factors, just kind of the economy starting to take off a little bit more here.
Okay. And so in qualifying your buyers, their credit score is a big deal.
Absolutely.
I just clipped this little thing here. And tell me how you feel about this. Here's 10 ways to raise your credit score. Number 1, 35% of your score is your payment history.
Correct.
30% of your score is your credit utilization, or how much of your available credit you use.
Correct. Yeah, managing your credit card's revolving debt is particularly important. People don't realize that that's 30% of their score.
So before they come to see, they should have their credit cards down to 0.
Well, under 50% utilization
Okay.
is good. 25% or less, you're going to optimize your points.
Okay, perfect. 15% of your score considers the length of credit history.
Exactly.
How does that work?
Well, if you've gone out and bought a car recently,
Okay.
or opened a new credit card account, those are new inquiries and new credit that you've had, and so that can have an impact on your score.
10% of your score is the amount of new credit you've received.
Right, and that's related to that as well, the newness of the credit. So the opening of new accounts, kind of out shopping for credit, those things will impact the way that your score is represented.
And then 10% of your score is the type of credit you've used. I guess there's certain types of credit.
Yeah, an interesting thing.
Is that secured, unsecured, or?
Yes, and whether you have a mortgage or don't have a mortgage. And in fact, the type of loans you're applying for can actually impact your score.
I'll be darned.
Because I've talked to folks who've gone in and they may have bought a car recently, and they'll tell me my credit score was XYZ, and then I will go to pull their score and it may be a little bit lower. Well, that's because applying for a mortgage is a higher risk sort of loan than a car loan.
Okay.
You're taking a much higher liability.
Okay.
Therefore, the credit risk is a little bit greater, and it'll pull your score down just a little bit.
Wow, so the type of credit, okay.
Yeah, and then also the balance of different types of credit that you have. Do you have revolving credit, installment credit? Have you had a mortgage before? Those things are factors.
So I guess you would agree with me, the first thing, if somebody wants to purchase a home and go through all those hoops and everything, they should contact you first. You can run their whole economic, personal history, and then maneuver them through that process. There's a lot of guidance that needs to happen.
Absolutely. And so, we will run the credit score, and we'll take a look at that and do some coaching if there's some coaching that's needed in terms of how somebody might be able to manage their credit score if that helps them to get a better loan. Sometimes just a couple of points in your credit score may make a difference in the interest rate that you have, or even being able to be qualified for a particular type of loan program.
Interesting. Okay.
So
come see Todd.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm happy to help people understand how their credit score impacts their ability to get a loan.
You want to see some numbers?
Yeah, let's see.
Oh, they are exciting. I tell you, this is fun. I have April statistics. So we're right here. We're in May, but we don't. Yeah, so we're good. We got last month. So April 2014, average single-family home 695,000, and a median price was 655,000. And guess what that is now, last month?
I bet it's higher.
Oh, a lot higher. Average price jumped to 875,000.
Oh, my goodness.
And then median price, 899. That's a 26% bump from April 2014 to April 2015. I knew it was coming. Everybody talked about that for months.
It's incredible.
And then condo pricing has pretty well stabilized. April 2014, average price 522,000. Median price is 521. And that jumped last month, April 2015, to 564 for an average price and 557 for a median price. So that's about a 9% jump.
Yeah, well, I know we talked about this in previous shows, that we'd seen that the big increase in condo prices had kind of been a precursor to that moving into the single-family home market.
Correct.
And now we're seeing that in single-family homes
Yeah.
as well.
So it should be exciting. I hope folks stay tuned. As we give the monthly statistics, and they can see what their home values are going up in Milpitas.
Well, we're delighted folks have joined us. If you have questions about the show,
Please email me at giordanodj@aol.com, and Todd can be reached at.
T. Flesner at opusadvisors.com.
It's been fun. I've really enjoyed it. We've been doing this. Are we on our 5th year, 6th year?
Something like that.
I'm not sure, but time flies. We've had just a array of. We just talked earlier how many nice people we've met through the community, and
It really is fun to connect folks here in the community, get to know them, and introduce them to the audience here as well.
well, thank you for tuning in to Valley Homes on TV. We'll see you next time.